Recently saw you attending the Ram Temple opening ceremony. We were dancing with Tambaraji, the theme for our audience, especially our audience are young Indian diaspora students and people who are working in IT and banking. These are our audience. So the podcast is called Global Desi Podcast. So for our audience, can you just give us your personal journey and how you become interested in spirituality?
So Vrindavan is my birthplace, which definitely is a capital of spirituality.
100%.
Bhakti, birthplace, and the place is filled with the pastimes of Lord Krishna and Radharani.
I heard that you've also studied in Oxford University and you also received a doctorate degree. First of all, I would like you to define what is a Dharma for our audience, because it's loosely translated as a religion, but I have heard you in many of the Katha, you have given a 3 or 4 context of Dharma. So
Moksha is the day when you realize that you are here, but you are not from here.
Namaste and welcome to Global Desi Podcast. To celebrate the incredible journey of the 30 million global Indians settled outside India, we're here to shine a light on the extraordinary stories of people from all walks of life.
Hari Bol Maharaj Ji.
Hari Bol, Radha Raman Lal ki jai ho.
It's such an honor to have you on our show, Maharaj Ji. I remember last time I met you was around 10 years ago when you came to Edinburgh.
True. I was there. I think in the temple for one day.
Yes, Edinburgh Hindu temple.
Yes, I remember that.
And
you hosted us very well.
Thank you, Maharaj Ji. I always follow your videos on YouTube, and I recently saw you attending the Ram Temple opening ceremony. We were dancing with Tambaraji, the theme.
Yes.
So that video I think went viral, and since then I've been manifesting that whenever Pundrik Maharaj is in UK, I will take his interview, and the day is here, Maharaj Ji.
Thank you.
Prabhu's Kripa.
True. Yes, thank you. But this Reading Katha has been planned a year back, and I remember you messaged me also. So I somehow was waiting for you to talk to me.
Thank you, Maharaj Ji. So before we start the podcast, can we have a small mantra or invocation in Sanskrit so that we build up the environment for our audience as well? Can we start with some invocation mantra from you, please?
Mangalam Bhagavan Vishnu, Mangalam Garunadhvajah, Mangalam Pundarikaksha, Mangalayastano Harihi, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Radha Raman Lal ki jai.
So Maharaj Ji,
as I was reciting the mantra, see, a Viman, Devata is being manifested.
Interesting. So, Maharaj Ji, I know I have read about you, but for our audience, especially our audience are young Indian diaspora students and people who are working in IT and banking. These are our audience. So the podcast is called Global Desi Podcast.
Wow. Nice.
So for our audience, can you just give us your personal journey and how you become interested in spirituality?
This is the grace of my parampara, I would say, because by God's grace, I born in Vrindavan. Of course, you never decide your birthplace.
True.
It is always given to you. So you should thank God. And if you believe in Indian philosophy, your previous karma, that where you got the birth.
True.
So that gave me a big impact because Janani Janma Bhomishya Swargad Bigariyasi, as Mahabharata says, no matter where you live, but you always feel connected to your birthplace. So Vrindavan is my birthplace, which definitely is a capital of spirituality.
100%.
Bhakti, birthplace, and all the place is filled with the pastimes of Lord Krishna and Radharani. So that is something which has been there in me since childhood. And then the second fortunate thing was that even in Vrindavan, I got this opportunity to take birth in the lineage of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a servant of Radharaman Temple. I'm one of the Goswami there. Fortunately, I've been educated in a normal, nice school. Even I was studied in a Christian school there, though. But then my family has this deep-rooted background of spirituality. My father had been traveling globally, speaking about Srimad Bhagavatam, and I was accompanying him. Somehow everything has been inspiring me, feeding me with spirituality since childhood.
Right.
And this was never forced to me that I had to do this. There was always an inspiration. I still remember there was one day, I think I was finishing my high school, and my father very simply sat with me and said, there's no pressure. If you want to work, you tell me. If you want to do a job, you tell me. If you want to go somewhere, tell me. If you do this, we'll be very happy because we have this legacy. And then I thought of it for about a week.
Mhm.
And when I even portrayed myself into different situations,
Right.
I was feeling uncomfortable. So I think I think I took birth for a specific reason.
Right.
And this was very much natural within me.
Mhm.
So the training has been happening.
Mhm.
I personally feel, in a spirituality, it is not just about the practice. It is always the blessings.
Right.
If you wanna grow a seed, of course you need to look for a great land,
Mhm.
a fertile land,
Mhm.
a good flow of water.
Mhm.
These two things are in your hand, but not the sunlight.
True.
So of course you can do effort to cultivate your spirituality.
But it comes within you.
I would say the blessing is the sunlight.
Right.
It's not within you.
Right.
Of course, the within you is watering the seed.
Yeah.
The samskar which we learn from our family is the sowing of the seed in a fertile land. But then the something which has come from within you is like watering the seed. But these two things won't work also until the sunlight comes.
True.
It's a blessing of God. When that comes, then of course I would say the flower blossoms. So I personally feel there are 3-4 incidents in my life which made me, I will not use the word enlightenment or something like this because these are very heavy words. But I personally feel that I feel deep-rooted blessings within me. One incident when I was small and I went to celebrate my grandfather's birthday and he was a sannyasi.
Right.
When I bowed down my head,
Atul Krishna Goswami.
Atul Krishna Swami Maharaj was one of the most renowned scholar of his time, still now.
Yes.
He blessed me and he kept his hand like maybe 10 minutes on my head. I could feel something, I don't know. I couldn't realize on that day, but later on, I cannot forget that feeling. The same thing happened with me, with my father once, especially just before leaving.
Right.
He told one of his helper that I'm very happy with my son.
Wow.
This is my biggest motivation till now.
No doubt.
Till now.
No doubt.
And of course, in 2010, 15th of October, I was in England only and in Reading only.
Okay.
I was in Reading only. And from Coventry, Haridas Prabhu is my very good friend. He was with me too. And in the middle of that, I got the news that my father is not well. I had to went back. So that is a bit of I would say, turbulent time. But in that phase of my life, I have felt something, especially when my father left his body. And when I was flying back from Mumbai to Delhi, I gave a TED talk on that too, specifically.
Okay.
That, I don't know, this was something different.
Yeah, I heard that TED talk.
Yeah,
I remember
it was
that,
very different. It was not just a Mumbai to Delhi flight. It was something else, which actually empowered me like anything. I just felt something different. I was on the height of 35,000 feet in an aeroplane. Something was there. So that's how all these situations has been blessing me, I would say, inspired me, and I'm practicing spirituality. I'm not preaching it. I'm just practicing it, I would say. It's just like if you put the glass under a tap, once when it fills, then it spells out.
It spells out, yeah.
This is what is happening with me, definitely.
I would say. So what an amazing introduction, Prabhuji. So your father, Sri Bhutri
Krishna
Goswami ji, and your grandfather, both are very popular, not just in Vrindavan. I think your father has traveled around the world.
Everywhere.
So
because of him only, I'm coming to UK nowadays.
So they have a big impact on your spiritual journey.
True.
Yeah. Okay. So you not only just excelled in spirituality. I heard that you've also studied in Oxford University, and you also received a doctorate degree from.
Recently, I didn't study in Oxford University. I wanted to enroll there. I was studying here, so I did the preparation courses though, and I wanted to do that. And this was the plan. I was staying in Coventry only at that time, and I did some preparation courses, which included some English courses too. And I was going to get enrolled into it. I was into that planning and phase. Even me and there's one of my friend Guru Sevak, we both went there and talked to, there was one Shaunak Rishi in Oxford Hindu Studies Center.
Yeah, I know him.
I was very close to me. So I've been to the center. We have all planned it properly. But then because of this incident, I couldn't continue because I had to go back. And then just after, 16th day, I thought that maybe I should continue my study. I had an option. I thought that let me go back and do something like that. But then my grandfather then started feeling unwell. But then fortunately, But of course, for whatever months I stayed here for that preparation courses, that definitely gave me a different kind of experience to be with the students, which sometimes helped me also now to do the katha, just to understand the mindset of each and everyone. And that was the main reason. Degree was not going to do anything because my path and my goal were much more clear even before getting to the Oxford. And recently, by the God grace, I got this doctorate degree from Mansarovar University by Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh. And I was so fortunate, and why I accepted it is because from Madhya Pradesh, Krishna got the degree too.
Is it? I don't know about it.
Ujjain is in Madhya Pradesh.
Okay.
So Lord Krishna went to Ujjain to study, and he got the degree from Madhya Pradesh.
Amazing.
And I'm his devotee. So I took it as a blessing of my Lord.
Right. That's great. So Maharajji, I have listened to a lot of your YouTube videos regularly. Whenever I feel low and need some motivation, I just tune into one of your videos, one of your kathas.
Thank you very much.
And I've seen that you connect very well with youth people because you blend the traditional concept with modern things as well. So I wanted to bring to our audience something. For example, there are lots of misconceptions about Hinduism or Hindu Dharma, So first of all, I would like you to define what is a Dharma for our audience, because it's loosely translated as a religion, but I have heard you in many of the katha, you have given a 3 or 4 context of Dharma. So can you please explain and dissect what Dharma means to you? Or what is the general definition of Dharma?
If I'll say what it means to me, then it can be a personalized question.
Right.
But if we just go through the scriptures, the word Dharma, in a very simple format, a duty of human. What human should be doing throughout his life, ethics, value system, rightness, nature, and a part of it is also worship. This is what you could say Dharma. In Vedic tradition, Dharma is one of the 4 Purushartha.
Right.
Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. See how intelligently our sages and ancestors has established our life and tradition. What is the meaning of a successful life? When you raise this question, everybody gets heavy.
Right.
They don't know what should be answered because in every situation, a definition of success changes, isn't it? Sometime, if you see yourself financially successful, you will definitely find someone else just after a few years or maybe a second day who will maybe leading you.
True.
Somebody is leading. Who is a leader in a business? Maybe an owner or a customer. If customer stops buying things, then you don't know who is the owner and who is the servant. So this is a big question. But our Indian philosophist, I would say, sages, our scriptures has mentioned that throughout your life, if you can satisfy these 4 Purushartha, one of them is Artha. Artha should be considered to be as your assets, your financial development, the things which is required for you, for your family, for the society, for everything. There should be 5 divisions of Artha. I will not go into that detail, otherwise it's going to be too difficult for a normal person to understand, to grasp it. So that's what we call Artha. Then Kama means desires. The things which you have, which you want to do in your life. It could be material possessions. It could be even spiritual desires. It could be a desire to help. Any kind of desire, whatever you want to have. It could be planting good trees. It could be having great garden, whatsoever. You should have it. It is neophyte or bona fide, superior or inferior, that's a different thing. But they have given us this opportunity to have Kama. Because that's the source of life.
True.
Without that, a human cannot survive.
No, true. And
then the third thing, the generation will not, because the definition of Kama is also that.
Sex,
The third thing is Dharma. The word Dharma here is now rightness, the value system. There are 10 nature of Dharma, which I was explaining yesterday in the Katha. One of them is patience. One of them is forgiveness. This is all comes under Dharma.
True.
Majorly, there are 4 definitions of Dharma. One is nature, duty, rightness, and value system. All 4 should be considered to be as Dharma. But if I would say religion only means a specific way of worship. But this is not just the meaning of dharma, like we call Kshatriya dharma, Brahmana dharma, Putra dharma, Pati dharma, Manav dharma. So there are different kinds of student dharma, yes, teacher dharma, student dharma. A dharma of a student is that he should study. That should be prior, and then everything else. If the studies is not the priority and everything else, then he is not doing the student dharma, isn't it? Of course, he can enjoy his life, he can roam here, there, he can go to temple, he can do religious things or the material, everything, whatever he wants to do. But the priority should be, if he is here for 24 hours in UK for study, and if he is sleeping for 8 hours, now he has now 16 hours left. So in the 16 hours, I would say 40% should be for the studies.
100%.
Then only he is obeying his student dharma. So this is what the dharma is. And then one of them is also the part of worship. I would say 40% should be for the studies.
100%.
Then only he is obeying his student dharma. So this is what the dharma is. And then one of them is also the part of worship. And the fourth aspect is the moksha, is the liberation. Liberation also means a bit of a different aspect, but the moksha is, I would say, being free from any kind of bondage,
any kind of desire,
any kind of everything, any kind of desire, any kind of possessions, any kind of, I would say, artha, dharma, all the previous things,
everything,
above everything.
Right.
Moksha, I would say, being free from I also, ego.
That's very interesting.
Everything has become a moksha, is becoming superior of moksha is the day when you realize that you are here, but you are not from here. That's the day when moksha starts in your life. This is what it is. See, you are from an Indian origin. You know that. You are here in UK. You follow the rules here. You pay the taxes here. You respect the country. You want to take care of everyone here, but somehow back in the mind you also know that I am here, but I am from there. And it's not just your thought. Here also everyone treats you like that, isn't it?
100%.
So this is what the spiritual practice is also. We human are here, but we are not from here. We exactly look like God, isn't it?
True.
Krishna also had 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 eyes, 1 nose. Ram also has the same, and we also have the same. So we are somewhere from that
lineage,
that area. But we have been migrated here to do something.
So do you think the dharma is rising? Right now you see there are a lot of trouble going on all around the world, whether it's Israel and Gaza conflict, even in UK there are riots happening, in Bangladesh there's disturbance. So all over the world there is a lot of chaos and noise. Do you think it's the prime time of Kali Yuga, or do you think that Kali Yuga is going down and dharma is rising? So what are your thoughts about this? Whatever happening around the world?
See, scripturally, if I'll say this is a time of a Kali Yuga, it doesn't matter, but dharma will always rise. Nobody can destroy it. That's also a fact. So all these situations which you have mentioned, these are not the dharmic problems, these are political problems, which is mixed with the dharma. This is just the issue. It is just like if in a furnace, if you throw a petrol,
it will rise.
It will become a disaster. This is what is happening. The politics, and then the politics is using somehow dharma for their own purpose.
Fuel up people. And
these are the things which creates these kind of conflicts. It is so unfortunate, even in Bangladesh, which recently I've been saying. Of course, political disturbance is being there. But see, why to burn the temples, killing the priest? This is not the right thing to do. That is also showing that if a particular religion takes over of some place, what can happen? Isn't it? So disastrous. We believe in harmony. India respects each and everything. When the Ram temple came, they have also decided to give a beautiful land to the mosque also, even in the Vishwana. This is what Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. This is what the Hindu ideology is, and we have been surviving with it. But somehow, if real dharma established, it will always rise. But the problem is that real dharma is very durlabh, if I will say in English. Priceless, very crucial.
Very scarce. So
very limited.
Yeah. Do you think that if gurus and Maharaj like you put some drop of spirituality in each of these political leaders, then probably they would think more rationally? What do you
We
think?
have been trying for that. See, even in India, when the leader is being inclined towards religion and spirituality, they're trying to do good.
Yeah.
See how India has been improving from last
Exactly.
5-10 years.
Yes.
I wouldn't say just religiously, but financially, infrastructurally.
The roads and every time I
everything
go
is
India, I
coming up.
can't recognize it. It's like
it is improving.
Yes.
And everybody is trying for that. And we should definitely, religion is a part of life. Dharma empowers you.
Yeah.
People just don't empower Dharma. The problem is that everybody thinks that people empowers Dharma. Then they're trying to misuse the people.
True.
But it is actually Dharma which empowers the people.
So just now coming back while you're talking about India and Ram Janmabhoomi. So I saw, as I mentioned, start of the podcast, you looked so happy and with all the saints and sages, all the gurus sitting in the opening ceremony of 22nd January of Ram Janmabhoomi, and I saw a small clip of you dancing with Ritambara Mataji. So can you tell us about the experience? How did you felt when you attended the Ram Janmabhoomi? Many older people I know, they were like, they could not believe. Even my mother and my older grandparents, they were like, I could not believe we can see this in this lifetime. So how was your experience literally seeing the Ram temple in front of you? So how was your feeling? Can you express with us, please?
I have been into many deep sadhanas sometime in different phases of my life. I stayed in Vrindavan in auspicious times to do some deeper bhajan, to experience this spirituality. Not a longer period, but sometime when I go for katha in Himalayas, like maybe Rishikesh or little further above, I try to spend some morning or evening times into a small cave of any sadhu or under the tree to do bhajan, to experience this spirituality. But the energy and the experience of 22 January, I have never felt before anything like that. It was unbelievable.
I can feel that watching you guys in the TV. So you being physically present
Ramji was like the epicenter of each and every, I would say, the whole universe. That's the only one day when everybody is talking about Ram in the whole world.
True.
Even by curiosity or by Shraddha, whatever the reason was. But everybody, whomever I was calling, they were saying, Jai Shri Ram.
Wow.
without even telling them or asking them to do that. Everybody has this curiosity to do that. And I was fortunate to be a part of the, when there was Bhumi Pujan. During the time of COVID, when there was only 200 people were invited.
Yes.
So I was fortunate to represent the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lineage. And by being there, that was also an extraordinary. It was not that much highlighted in the media, but that was very much personal. Even that was even much more spiritually energized. It was not into that media in that way, but it was great.
Also, you were there during the first
ceremony. I was there.
I've never
2020, because it was not too much highlighted into media.
Okay.
But when there was only 200 people invited, and there was only 40 spiritual leaders, I was being fortunate to be there. And we have been waiting since then, because we have been there, so we were even more excited. And when I got the invitation of 22nd of January, I cannot believe, the gathering of 10,000 people, and every person was so important that even if they stand and walk somewhere in the street of England, they can easily attract 10,000 people, isn't it? That kind of 10,000 people were there, and they were all shouting.
Including yourself.
No, I was just a small person.
No, you're very
servant of Lord Rama. But the fortunate thing is that I was the first one who entered into the temple and did the first darshan of Lord Rama.
Wow.
I don't know, maybe he has given me this bit priority of being a Brajvasi or something like this, but I was the first one who entered there, and I cannot believe. First I look and say, oh, is he Krishna or Rama? Because the face looked like that.
Yeah.
I cannot believe. Puja Shri Murari Babu, he danced with me too. There's no footage. But his devotees have seen that we have seen him first time dancing like that. He was everyone was in ecstasy. And I was looking at Didi Ma, because she's very close to me, even Vrindavan, very, very close to me.
Yes, she comes to UK. I met her once.
We have been meeting in Vrindavan quite a lot.
She's got a Vatsalya ashram?
Yeah, she got a Vatsalya ashram. And then on that day, we have been looking at each other. And on that day only, I had offered my pranams to two person. One is to Didima and another to Lord Rama. Because she was, maybe I say, personified Kaushalya Maya or something like that.
Wow.
And then while leaving, she was sitting just, at the exit door. Suddenly I went there also. He said, then she called me with my name. And then we just, without any instrument, nothing was there. And we started dancing. And it was just,
I think that video went quite viral.
yeah, somebody took this footage and uploaded it. And then they put it on my page also.
You looked, not just you, everyone looked so happy in that moment.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Because temple, a temple is established in such a way which empowers each and everyone in the city, in the country. Temple is something which gives employment to each and everyone.
Yeah. So I was coming to that question. Sorry to interrupt, because there's a lot of people even within in UK and even in Bharat, they were criticizing why to spend so much money on temple, and it could have been done better way. We should have built a hospital or built a university or things like that. I think these are all being built, and I have heard in one of your katha or somewhere you said that temple economy is a very big economy. Can you talk about how temple economy help our financial structure of the country?
Two things I would like to say. First is that, hospitals are very important for your physical well-being. Similarly, schools and colleges are very important for your intellectual well-being. But when you look at a individual, his existence is not limited to his physical, intellectual existence. There's also a mental existence, and I would say there's a soul also. And you, just like you go to hospital to repair your body, you go to school or college to repair your intellect or study to repair that. Similarly, for your mind and for your soul, you need a place to repair it. And for that, we need a temple. It's a repairman, it's a treatment place for your soul and for your mind, I would say. So it's very important, just like we need a hospital, just like we need a university, we also need a temple. And temple is not just a place of worship. The way Hindu temples develop. Even recently, I was in this Abu Dhabi temple, which is one of the first one in UAE. And even they have told me the same thing. The architecture, the kind of employment, even that temple has brought up in UAE. When it comes to tourism also, they were excited that every representative of the royal family or somewhere from the government is visiting it kind of every week there. So this is one of a very latest example. Even you could have said it for UAE also, that why they have put so much money in building a temple. They have given the land also. They should have built up a hospital or something, or a peace center there as well, isn't it? So because temple taps on each and everything in the society. We need plumbers, carpenters. Every day we change the dress of the deity. So the tailors, the fabric industry, every temple has the langar, food. We distribute free food to everyone, which empowers the farming side, the cook. Now the construction artisans. When you build a home, you don't need technical artisans. How are they going to get the food? Who's carving, doing this integrate carving with wood, with the stones? Not everybody can afford it. How are they going to get bread? So when you build a structure like this, they also get something to eat. Now it's not just that building. Now the God also, we offer jewelry. So gold economy, the diamond economy, all the jewelers.
Airport has been built in a...
Now this, I was coming to that only. Now this is for the temple. And now if a temple comes, if you see the picture of Ayodhya 2 years back, and now this can show you that what a temple can do to a city. We have an airport now, big highways now. The people are so happy. The small chai wala who used to earn maybe 1,000 rupees a day, which is £10 a day, he is earning now at least 200 to 300 pounds a day just because of the crowd which is coming there. In India, temple was always an epicenter of a city. And this is not just Ayodhya. Look at Jagannath Puri. There's only one Jagannath temple
and whole of
which
Odisha
runs I would say more than 2-3 million people. Whole tourism. There are more than 50,000 hotels, airport. And I would say if you just look into the Odisha's economy, the 60-70% contribution is just because of Jagannath Mandir.
Amazing.
When there was COVID, there was a taxi driver who called me from Badrinath.
Right.
I used him while traveling to Badrinath. Once he used to live in Uttarkashi, little above than Rishikesh.
I've been there last year.
Yeah. So he told me, I just called him because I was just thinking about him because we were all were doing many charities and different welfare. He said, how are you? He said, Maharaj, we are fine. Then one statement which he told me and stuck into my heart. He said, Maharaj, Badri and Kedar give bread to half of the Himalaya.
True.
It's not just one temple. The temple structures maybe smaller than this tent, I would say. Kedarnath, it's smaller than this tent where we are sitting. But that Kedarnath gives bread to a taxi driver, to hotel, to chaiwala, to a restaurant, from Haridwar to Kedar.
True.
Isn't it?
True.
To the horsewalas.
True.
So temple economy is not small.
True.
It attracts tourism. In India, they have been always the religious tourism since Beatles.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yes.
It's not just Beatles, even before than that. Everybody used to go to Rishikesh to seek spirituality.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Everyone is going there, isn't it?
Yeah.
In every terms, India is improving.
Yeah.
In educational terms also, if it had been improved, why the students would be coming from India to UK? In fact, it should be other way around.
Yeah.
We should have created a UK student union so that we can help someone there. I'm waiting for that day.
Yeah, it will happen.
That Puneet would establish an office in India now because students are coming from UK to India.
It will happen.
That would be that definitely would happen. I'm waiting for. I would want this to happen in my lifetime only. But then, in every way we are improving.
Yeah.
But when it's come to spirituality,
we need improvement there as well.
No, I would say it is the topmost in the world.
Yes, in India, Bharat,
If we talk about the Bharat, everyone, if we want to look for medical science, there are countries which can become a role model.
Right.
When it's come to education, there are countries like Switzerland or there are few other which can have something deeper and much more advanced. When it's come to science, there are many big places which have been working deeply in terms of science or so many different things. But when it's come to spirituality, the whole world has to come to Bharat.
Yes, definitely. True.
Deep-rooted spirituality is being there
100%.
and has been practiced, not just from now. We have been, many have been tried to demolish us from more than 1,000 years, isn't it? They have demolished the financial structure, the cultural structure, the educational structure. But nobody can demolish the spiritual structure. Still it has survived. That means how strong it would be.
True.
So we are proud to have that temple.
Thank you so much. I think I'm getting an indication that you have to go for Katha. Just two last questions before we wind up. So first is, that there are a lot of, andhaviswas, which been practiced by a lot of modern gurus or Swami, which, for example, yesterday only in your Katha you mentioned about Mata aa jati kisi pe, ya kisi pe kuch aa jata hai, and other malpractices which like give bad name to Hinduism, So, and that's how many youth doesn't want to connect with our faith or our religion or our Dharma. Whereas when you speak, you connect things with technology and how Hinduism has been a scientific religion. For example, you talk about Pushpak Biman and the lineage of Sri Ram traveling from Ayodhya till Sri Lanka. You can just trace back everything, where he studied in the jungle to the Ram Setu, which I visited last year. It was mesmerizing. So in this age of social media, I would say information overload. Everybody is posting their own things, How to get the real message about our Dharma and how do we connect the youth generation, especially those who are living outside Bharat, In Bharat, you go everywhere, you see a temple, you see a Swamiji, you can talk to them. But outside India, social media is one of the great things where we can watch your videos. So what other ways we can leverage technology and social media to, like my daughter, she's standing here, and the next generation of Indian diaspora Hindus here, how can we keep them intact with our Dharma? So what is your...
First thing is, don't start following what is trending.
Yeah.
Look at to the intent also. Everything can trend. Just a small stupid sound can trend also. And don't think that this is reality. I would say, I don't believe in any kind of andhavishwas. And I don't think so it exists also.
No, true. Yeah.
If you find anyone, I would request your audience to connect with Puneet and give a contact. We will talk to the person, Puneet. We'll raise the fund as much as you want. We are ready to give in, and we'll ask him to stop the riots which is happening in UK now.
Yeah.
If something like this really exists, isn't it? There's so many big things which can be solved rather than disturbing somebody's personal life with some kind of black magic or whatsoever. I don't believe it doesn't exist. The biggest black magic is your bad karma. And the best great magic, it happens to you when you do a good karma. This is what our spirituality has been taught us. I would request you, of course, you should get the valid information from the valid person who is coming from a parampara, not just a person who has put some money and became famous on social media, which anybody can do.
Yeah.
The person whom you're listening to, you should know their background.
True.
We read 10 times before buying a small stuff. Why don't we inquire about a person before taking a knowledge from him?
True.
Isn't it?
True.
And the very simple format is that we should connect our youth with our knowledge, with the scriptures. Even I said that yesterday.
Yes.
Even if you take to a person to in front of any statue, like we have Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel statue, which is one of the biggest in the world.
Yeah.
If a Britisher go there who doesn't know what Sardar Vallabhbhai has done, they would just see it as a good piece of art, will not connect at all. And he might feel offended also because if we look at the history, he have worked for the India, but of course, I don't want to say it. You know that.
Yeah.
So it can be two thoughts.
True.
But still, he's the Iron Man of India.
Yeah.
So now what we want to promote is just the puja and the murti. That if you do these two things, you are Hindu, else you can do everything. That's not the reality.
True.
This
Much
is
deeper than that.
No, I would say this is having a mandir and puja is a 10th standard. First, please go to the first standard. If you will know about Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, then only you're going to respect him, even if you see the picture. If you know what Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita, then you're going to respect him. If you read about the Ramayana, not just because you find an English translation written by somebody from foreign country, you should take a valid book, read what it is there. We should connect our youth with the scriptures first.
Right.
So I request each and everyone, even the parents who comes from, who send their kids from India to UK to study, you give them pounds, you give them clothes, you give them food, give them a place to stay. Why can't you give them a Bhagavad Gita also?
So that's the message for all the parents who are sending their kids to UK. Please give them a Bhagavad Gita as well.
One Bhagavad Gita to them. Please bring it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest and most ancient counseling in the battlefield. Not like sitting in a nice tent in a garden with a rose, like we are talking. Arjuna and Krishna was in the battlefield.
Battlefield, yeah.
And when a student comes here, he's in the battlefield, isn't it? I have seen thousands of students, met with more than 100 students who is into much more negative situation.
Yeah, they have mental health issues as well.
But then if they have something like this, even in the severe situations, they are still being very happy.
Yeah.
Not even in UK, even in India also.
Yeah, true.
You have to empower yourself. So definitely watch the videos, see where the crowd is. These can be promoted also. It's not going to take a lot of money. If I put £1 million, I can do anything even here into any news channel. And whatever rubbish I want to speak, I can speak. Nobody's going to stop me, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to charge some money. And I can easily find a financial also for that. Even you can do that. It's not a big deal. So I'm so sorry if I'm offending someone.
No.
But that's pretty straight. But I would say if you will, from the source of knowledge, that is also very important. Sita ji didn't verify Ravana. And what happened, you know? Ravan was not verified properly and then he has kidnapped her. So a source of knowledge should be valid. And how you can see that this knowledge is valid when you have the knowledge. And you can only have the knowledge when you go through the scriptures. At least in the whole of the lifetime, if you're born in India, at least once in a lifetime you can read Ramcharitmanas, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and then see, not just because we are saying it, at least have a valid reason to reject them.
True.
You should have a valid reason.
Relevant for modern world as well, isn't it? Bhagavad Gita and Ramcharitmanas.
Very much relevant. And I would say if it is irrelevant, then please prove it also.
Yeah.
So for proving it, you have to read it.
Yeah.
That why it is irrelevant. Prove it that it is impractical.
Yeah.
We are ready to prove that it is very much practical and very much relevant because we have read it.
Yes.
And where we are like, see, there was a situation of COVID 4 years back.
Yeah.
You know, those who are spiritually empowered, they could survive easily with their mental health.
Yeah.
Those who are living with the joint family, which is our Indian tradition.
Yeah.
There were many ladies, there were many Matajis. They were enjoying like anything. You know, of course, it was very unfortunate. I pray for every soul because it was such a severe time.
True. It was a very hard time for everyone. Yeah.
Very, very hard time.
I lost my mother-in-law in that.
So I'm very sorry to hear that. And I praised to God to give all of you great strength. But you know, from my own side, so much best came out of me because I've been empowered with this spiritual legacy. I get to read, I get to do my sadhana, I get to write few books, which is now we have been distributing. I cannot do it now because such a busy schedule. So, of course, it's not the right time, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I could stay at one place there, and there are many people like me who still relish that they get that time. Though it is such an unfortunate situation.
But you get time for yourself.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
And what does it mean by yourself? You can only connect yourself through the knowledge, isn't it? So I would request all the parents, and when every student is here, you should study, do everything. At least once in a week, get some time to read a bit of any of the good scripture. From Bhagavad Gita, Ramcharitmanas. There's one scripture called Yoga Vasishtha. It's such a bona fide one.
Right.
But where Vasishtha was the guru of Ramji, gave his teaching to Ramji. Such a bona fide. But you need some brains to read.
So this is just a level 1 of our podcast, Maharajji. I have intended to have a 5 podcast with you. I'm just telling you. This is just the chapter 1. So I've seen one of your video when you were just 7-year-old in 2001 or 2. You were so confidently reciting Katha. So one last question from me, Maharajji. So how can normal people like us develop that kind of public speaking? Because when you sit on the Vyaspeeth, it just comes to you, you know, you can speak, you are so humorous, you are so emotional, and you're such a great orator. That is one of your strengths, I would say, whenever I see you speaking. So for a normal human being, like a young people, what would you advise them? How can they gain this much of confidence of public speaking? Just last question and then we finish from here.
You know, for me personally, everything is normal. Experience makes the things normal. This is what I could say. If you gain an experience, it becomes a very normal thing for you. I've been brought up into such environment because I've seen my father speaking, I've seen my grandfather speaking. So I knew that how this works, and ultimately that's their blessings so that I can do it. So I could just say one thing while speaking, that don't try to impress anyone. You only feel underconfident when you're trying to impress anyone. I never try to impress anyone. In fact, I'm hammering my listeners that why you do this. Sometimes it's insulting also, isn't it? It's because I'm not trying to impress anyone. For me, speaking is a worship to my Radharamanji. So, of course, that's a little more deeper, but on a normal level, we could just say that speak to express rather than to impress. It's a very old saying and a very valid saying. For express, you need to feel also. You need to experience also. You need to understand it logically. If you only understand it logically, speaking should be milking cow, not vomiting.
That's a
Generally,
very good, yeah.
Isn't it? Generally, when we eat, we vomit.
Yeah.
Is your speaking just like a vomit that you have fed yourself and now you're just vomiting on the audience? Or it is just like the cow
Getting the nectar out.
getting the nectar out of it?
Yeah.
जुगाली करती है ना गैया, पहले खाती है फिर जुगाली करती है, दूध निकलता है. तो श्री कृष्ण ने भी दोग्धा गोपाल नंदन है. कृष्ण ने उपनिषद को दोहा तो गीता का दूध निकला. When I read that verse from Bhagavad Gita, it inspired me. So you read this, then you do chintan out of it. जुगाली करनी पड़ेगी, apply करना पड़ेगा. You have to apply that in your life. Then it become a nectar, and then when you distribute it, it becomes tasty. Vomit always smells bad.
So what are the 3 steps? First is to learn, and then do chintan, and then you express. Yeah?
That's true.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Maharajji. I think it's been a blessing to have you on our show, and thank you for all your insight.
Thank you.
So is there a message you want to give to the global Desi, which is the Indian diaspora present all over the world in US, America, UK? Is there a message you want to give through our channel to the global Desis?
I would say become global, but be Desi.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you.